Little bit of shenanigans today. Market falls back down here throughout the entire day today. So as you can see, we slightly gapped up in the first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, fifth hour, and sixth hour. With the 6th hour move, what happened was that rising channel resistance right here. As you can see, this rising channel been acting as resistance pretty much in the last several weeks or so, and we came back down here, and to retest that pivot, the channel resistance potentially retesting as a new support, right? So because it's been acting as a resistance and it's a potentially a new support, and we do see that is definitely on the last hour here. You see that long lower wick. Market is aware of this rising channel resistance pivot, and so we did see a little bit of dip buying activities on that last hour, and we managed to close above the micro term right here, as if buyers know that they cannot lose that micro term, because as long as that micro term holds, as you can see, they can keep grinding higher for days. You see the micro term here, and micro term is right there, coinciding with the rising resistance pivot on that rising channel. So what can we expect going into tomorrow? So it's all gonna depend on how the market is going to open and behave in the first 2 hours. So what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you 2 scenarios. If we open lower, we gap down, let's say tomorrow morning, and it gaps down below the micro term and below this rising resistance pivot, and that gap holds, right? It sustains. And sometimes what could happen is it could gap down and we could see the rush back up. But what happens is by the time that, when it gapped down, it lost that micro term. That's the aqua moving, that's the micro term moving average, is aqua looking squiggly line here. So if we gap down and bulls rush this up, what's gonna happen is that micro term is gonna act as resistance, and so it's gonna fall back down. So if we fall back down or that down gap remains open, you can see we do not have other significant support until 574 or 575 or so. That's the pivot right here, right? Prior resistance that acted as new support. And you can see my short-term moving average, that's the green, is also in that vicinity. And I can put out the fib, I bet that will be the 50% in that vicinity. Bingo, right? So you can see 50% retracement, right? I measure from here to the recent low, recent swing high, all-time peak, and that 50% at 575, 574 pivot, and the horizontal pivot, and then the short term, they're all colliding in this vicinity. So 575, 574, if we see a down gap, if we lose micro term, but let's say the micro term holds, or we might get slightly below the micro term in the first hour, but then let's say this rising pivot holds, right? Maybe comes down a little bit or a gap or whatever. It holds and we start to climb back up. There's a good chance we'll get back to the all-time high level. And if it holds, if we do see a bounce, what's gonna happen? You see that oscillator right here? This is where we crossed. See that right here? That's where we crossed. It could come back down to retest, and then it's gonna bounce back up. That means oscillator needed to reset, because oscillator was at that extreme overbought zone.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
So this is a likely level, potential level. It's a likely level of support if the level holds in micro term and the rising pivot. But let's say we flush through some down gap or something like that, then the oscillator is also gonna come right back down.